Good morning, hello, happy Tuesday. It feels like a Monday today because yesterday was a day off and today is back to day job day. Zilby, no. He's trying to get into the trash. What are you finding in? Oh. No, you're not allowed to have that. Come here. Come here. Okay, I'm gonna move the trash over here. Sorry, Zilby, but you're not allowed to have. So it's a vacuum lint. He wants vacuum lint. I put it into the trash can. It's out. It's in the open. He can see it and he can smell it. And he loves that kind of stuff. And he's going to try to eat it. Well, okay. I don't actually know if he eats it. But I do know that he loves to fish it out of the trash can. Nope. Okay, I can't. All right, where am I going to put it? I'll put it over here. I'm right here. Okay, I'll let you look at it so you can acknowledge it's there. Hello, Stacking. How are you doing today? Back to life, back to reality. That is exactly what it feels like, doesn't it? Are you okay? Just smell. No touch. Just he was thinking about it, but he didn't put his paw up into it. So there's that. Okay. So do you want to come lie down on your bed that I made you? I let him explore this morning. So last night, yesterday, the other day, I emptied out the closet behind me, sort of like cleaning it out, doing a lot of deep cleaning of the carpet and other stuff, which is where all this lint comes from. Which means like there's a whole bunch of empty space in the closet behind me, behind the green screen, and he really wants to explore inside of it, which I have the door open. He can go in there, but there's an upper shelf that he can't jump to. Well, rather, I believe he could jump to it if he realized that he could jump that high. But he usually, at like the highest levels that he could jump, he usually doesn't actually even try. So he wants me to like every once in a while show him like, oh look, he'll get on my shoulders and then he'll jump up. Are you back to inspecting this? I'm gonna put this in the closet and close the door. You're far too interested in it. I'm gonna stop paying attention and then you're gonna fish it out. And I'm gonna find a whole bunch of carpet lint. Okay. It's in the closet. You can't get to it. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. All right, let's see. Other interesting things. So the other day, 2 days ago, that string, that sort of like the string leak little really short video that I did that was only like 4 minutes long or so. That was scheduled to come out, and it's been the fastest growing video and watches that I've had on YouTube. So had even several at least one person, I think 2 or 3, they were basically saying, hey, this is pretty cool, let's have more of these. So I'm gonna try to keep my eye out for more of those sort of opportunities when they come on, and we'll record more of those. Are you just gonna lie next to, okay. Zilby's gonna lie on the ground next to my chair, which means now I have to be very, very, very careful not to run into stuff. All right. So let's see. Then here we have, right, record video for Axum handling JSON. Okay, so that's our next thing. All right, so we've got an empty U there. So let's create a plan. Have you ever had one of those like little fruit fly type things that just like wandering around without any food? Just wandered right in front of my eyes. And probably made me look insane for you. All right, so let's jump into, so Axum handling JSON. Okay, so we have extract JSON in a route handler, respond with JSON in a route handler. Ooh, Sylvie's up on the desk. Oh, I turned the camera the wrong way. Okay, never mind. That doesn't help. Okay, so I want those two things, which means I want how do I want to how do I want to have a checklist for this? Okay, you're actually gonna lie down here now? All right. Oh, before we do anything, let's set up a Zillicant. All right, let's see if that's good. Yeah, that works. Okay, so extract JSON on a route handler. Let's take these two things. And I don't know. Okay, these are the only two. We'll start with a hello world, shouldn't we? So let's actually create that. I have the Axum JSON. We can just remove stuff and bring that in. Yashard, hello. How are you all doing? Or how are you doing? Let's see. I'm trying to decide, do I want to like clone the hello world? Do I want to clone the handling JSON or the Axum JSON? I could also let's go in and take a look at Axum JSON. This is what I believe we were doing yesterday. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have you. Let's helix inside of here and take a look at what we got. I keep on wanting to use J to like go down the list. That doesn't work. So I could remove. Okay, so we could just go through and remove all the things like Serde. We keep Tokyo, we keep Air. Okay, so if I think the library is going to remain exactly the same. Main's going to remain the same. We're going to remove the entire models. Okay, so if I remove models, which means I think, okay, we can also remove the routes games. And okay, that means okay, so you're happy here. And you're happy here. Okay, so we have basically just a blank Axum here. Okay, and that should be reset for us. Hello, Buffer. How are you doing today? Good morning. I keep on checking to see if Zilby like the Zilby cam is frozen, but it's not. It's been working. Okay, so we have all of this. This is fine and happy. We're doing good. We are ready to record, I believe. I need to write down the plans. Let's open up VS Code here. So it's quit out of use. You're not open there anymore. You're not running a server. Okay, so all of yours happy. Oh, I should run this. I know, a normal dev. Also, hello. I can't use VS Code. I feel that using VS Code for courses, especially like a course that I'm selling, is a good idea because most people are going to use VS Code. Just look at the statistics. It's VS Code all the way down. Maybe after this, we could do a course. We could do a course on CLI editors. And so we could do a course on setting up and using Vim, NeoVim, Helix, and I guess we could do Emacs. We could just say like, hey, use one of these. From now on, all the courses are in one of these. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, you found... What is that? It's a piece of cat grass. I have no idea how it got here. So he brought it up here at some point overnight, maybe? And then forgot about it. It's, we don't have very many plants in the house, and all the plants we have very made very sure that are cat safe. So this is a cat grass that is supposed to be good if you eat it as a cat. Zilby tends to not actually eat them, but does like to chew on them and play with them as if they're toys. Okay, so we have you. Is this feels like it's not big enough. I want to update. Let's do 24 for the font size. Is there a way for me to do like the terminal font size? Oh, I could do Thunder Client font size? Nice. Over there now? Okay, so if I do that, yeah, this is nice and big now. Excellent. All right, so we could do I go run. You're running, and we can do a Thunder Client just to get, that should be a 404 not found. Excellent. Okay. All right, I think we're about ready. Okay, so this will be my plan for this. I wish that I could figure out a way to do this in VS Code, but have it like look good. Stickies, I don't think make it look good. So I'm just gonna leave those over here. You're gonna go over to the side. Stickies, you could stay over there. And we have you. Okay. I think we're about ready. All right. It's been a few days since we've done a recording, so I have no idea how well this is gonna go. Usually, if it's been a few days, my beginnings are a little bit rough, and sometimes I have to restart those because I just forget how to speak. And let's see. But if I get going, usually it's fine. So let me turn on. Let's turn on. Where's my timer? Okay, we're recording. All right, how is that? Really? Okay. Of course, quiet now. Why? Why you do this technology? So right before this, right before stream, I did a mic check, and it's like, oh man, the mic is really loud now. So I decreased the gain, and now of course it's quiet. Let's try fixing that. All right, how does this sound? I think it should be pretty much right back to where I had it previously. Thank you, MP Code. Also, hello. How are you doing today? Thank you, Shard. Jowie, hello. How are you doing? I haven't touched this. Oh, I did. I did pull the mic around a bunch. I'm trying to figure out where to put the mic when I'm not streaming, and when I'm just using the PC on a normal, because it kind of blocks a little bit of the bottom of the screen. Sort of, it's not that fun. I don't have a good place to put the arm yet, so I haven't figured that out. I just like, I don't know. I have a few different things I need to figure out for long term. And I guess I pulled the cable and like it just jostled loose. I guess. We'll see. But all right, let's go. I think we're ready for recording now. You're good. You're just having lunch while watching a stream. Nice. Well, we're about to go into recording. We're going to talk about extracting JSON and route handlers and responding with JSON from route handlers. That is going to be our objectives for this. All right. So, let us jump into it. Here we go. Hello and welcome to another lesson. In this one, our objectives are going to be to extract JSON in a route handler and then also respond with JSON from that route handler. It should be fairly quick, and it's all sort of together. We're going to use the same technology, which is Serde, to be able to do that. But besides that, Axum has everything we need besides Serde to do what we want to do. So let's jump in. I'm starting off with a basic, not quite a hello world. It doesn't have the hello world route, but the server is set up and running. So if I actually get this started, cargo run, our server is running. We're on port 3000. And if I hit this with Thunder Client with a GET request, we get a 404 not found. Okay, so everything is good. Server's running, but we don't have anything to run yet. So let's talk JSON. JSON, if you're not familiar, is a data format that is extremely popular. And while it's, the name spelled out is JavaScript object notation, it has uses way beyond JavaScript these days. It's pretty much used between every single system, going back and forth. And it's a great way, especially when serialized into a string, to pass data. And Rust can handle it pretty easily. So let's figure out what data we want to do. Let's say that we're making some kind of like games inventory system, like something where we like, okay, what games do we own, and like, are we playing them? What is our status? Something like that. So if we want to, let's say here in Thunder Client, we're going to design this. If I want to send a post, not a post, but a post request to /games, and we want to, in the body, let's send JSON. We want to say in like the name of the game. Well, Starfield is coming out today as the moment that I'm recording this. So let's say that this is Starfield. Let's say that it is. See what other information, like completed, like have we completed the game? This is going to be false. Have not played it. Do we want to, like, are we willing to replay it if we have completed? So replay. That is like maybe true. We don't know. So we'll just say false for right now. Let's see. What other things would we care about with this? Oh, maybe like where we own it, right? So platform. So the platform we own this on, I would probably get it on Steam. So I'm just gonna put it on Steam. Okay, so obviously if I do this, none of that works. But I have a model essentially that we can use here. And a model is exactly how I'm going to think about this, because I'm going to imagine that this is essentially going to go into a database in which I have these as the columns for this. We don't have that right now, but we can pretend. So I want to recreate this inside of Rust, but in a struct form instead of JSON form. Let's go ahead and do that. So inside of source, I'm going to create just a new folder in here called models. We'll create a mod.rs, and then I like to create a single model per file. So let's add a new file in here. We'll just do this as a game.rs. All right, so I need to tell Rust about models. So that's in lib. We'll do a mod models. In models, we'll do a pub mod game, because I do want other things to have access to this. And in game, we're going to do a pub struct game. I don't really feel the need to say something like game model or anything like that. It's just a game. That's exactly what it is. All right, so what do we put in here? Well, I can just take this, copy you, and we'll put this in here. Did I not copy? Apparently I didn't copy. There we go. Oh, you want to be over there. Okay, so let's take at least, I don't want to do multi-cursor here. We'll do that. Delete you, go over one word, delete you. You're going to be a string. Completed, you're going to be a Boolean. Replay, you're going to be a Boolean. And then platform, you're going to be, well, so this could be a string, but let's think about this for a second. I might want to limit what the platforms are and really enforce that it's a specific string. So in that case, maybe this should be an enum. So let's do a pub enum. Let's call this a game platform, just that I know that it is a platform for the game. In this case, like, we know that Steam is one of the options we're going to select here, but we could also do, like, Epic has a store, I believe. We have you have like the Switch, you have a PS5, we have an Xbox. Like, maybe we could all just say like it's a board game, something like that. And this platform now can be a game platform. Now, to translate between what we have here and what's going to be coming in as a post request in the body into this, like an actual Rust, struct, we have to use Serde. Now, before I can actually do anything about that, let's go ahead and install it. So we're going to do a cargo add Serde. Now, Serde has some, at least one feature that we really want here, which is the derive feature. The derive feature is going to make it really easy for us to just sort of add Serde in, so we don't have to manually add sort of, how it's going to work. Let's do this again. We're going to add in feature derive, which you notice also brings in the Serde derive feature for us, but that's fine. Okay, so once that's in, that allows us to, up here, add in our derives. What do we want to do? Well, we want a serialize and a deserialize. Now, sometimes Rust Analyzer doesn't help us with this. We definitely need to use to bring this into scope so that way, Rust knows about this. Let's see if I could do, yeah, if I do command dot, I'm on a Mac, so it's control dot, I believe, if you're on PC or Linux. Now I can import Serde serialize, and we can do the same thing for you. Other things we want to derive. Let's derive debug so we can print this out if we want to. And let's also clone this. Now, if I save this, everything's going to be happy. But it's telling me, hey, game platform doesn't implement serialize. Game platform, it's also going to yell that it doesn't implement debug or clone or deserialize. It's just sort of yaring out on the first one of these. Let's go ahead and copy you and paste you in there. Excellent. Okay, so now everything is going to be happy, and we have an object that's going to basically turn into two different things whenever it's deserialized or serialized. And we'll go over like what exactly those two things are very shortly. All right. Let's create a route to actually take in and handle this JSON. So let's go into our routes. Let's add in a, what do we want to do for this? We want to create, let's call this games. ZRS, and in mods, we will do a mod games. All right, we want some kind of route handler for this. It's going to be to create a game. So let's do a hub async function create game. Let's not worry about taking in the JSON yet. We'll worry about that in a second. Let's set things up first, so at least we get a 200 okay with it. And we'll go back into routes. We have our create game. It is pub, so we can use games create game. And right before this layer where we do our trace layer, let's do a route. We'll go to games, and then I want a post, and the handler is create game. Okay, so this means that I should be able to come back to Thunder Client. We'll hit send, and that we get an error. Well, we get an error because I forgot to actually start the server, didn't I? That would be helpful. All right, so we started the server. Now, the first time you add in Serde, it is going to have a compile time. I actually had Serde sort of like previously in the project. I removed it, and it was already there, which means that, well, it didn't need to recompile it yet again. Let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, we got a 200 okay, but nothing happens. What I would like to do is print out this JSON to the terminal as soon as we get that in. So let's head back into our routes for games. Now, to accept in that JSON, we're going to use the extractor, specifically the JSON extractor. This is given to us by Axum without any, we don't need any feature or anything else for that. It just is there, and it's JSON capital J here. So use Axum JSON. Now, this is going to look a little bit weird. We're going to, it's basically a tuple struct that implements an extractor trait. And so we can destructure that right here inside of the signature of the function. So we can do create game. So we want the game coming in here. Now the type of this is going to be a JSON with that game model. And so we want to make sure we use that create models. Okay, that's good. And then let's go ahead and just immediately debug this out. So let's see, should we use debug? Let's use debug. We use debug and we'll use a reference to the game. Okay, I am running just cargo run here, so I have to quit and restart for any changes. And then we can come back to our Thunder client and rerun this. And we can see now, okay, here's our game. It's printed out and it's exactly what we expected it to be. Now, if I were to change this, like if I wanted to make the platform something that we didn't implement, let's say, so we did, what's a platform that for a game that we didn't add in, like maybe uh PSP here. And if I send that, ooh, we get this 422 unprocessable entity. So Axum's aware that something went wrong with that JSON extract, and it gives us this 422. In a future lesson, we'll talk about how to maybe like take more control over this so we don't return this to the client. But we're not going to worry about that right now. It is nice that it tells us exactly what one of these needs to be, which is really nice. However, unfortunately, it also does tell us exactly what line this is supposed to be too. Okay, so let's turn this back into Steam. And you're okay again. So we've got you printing out. Okay, so that's good. We're handling JSON coming in. So let's talk about that serialization to deserialization thing. So when it's coming in JSON form, it's actually coming in as a string. So it looks like an object at this point in time, but in reality, this is actually going to be turned by ThunderClient into a string here with like a backslash, and it's going to do that all throughout the entire thing. And that was my recording computer deciding to update Docker. Let me say no for that. Sorry about that. Ding. So this is what it's going to look like all the way throughout it. It's just continuing to do this. It won't have any spaces. And this is what Rust, specifically Axum, is going to receive in. And so JSON's going to deserialize it. So it's in the serialized form when it's in the stringified version of JSON into the Rust struct, which is, well, essentially exactly this, but in Rust. Let me go ahead and undo this. And then when we serialize things again, which is what we want to do next, I want to now take this game. I want to maybe change it in some way, and then we'll return with it. We'll respond with JSON, which is going to now serialize it into the appropriate, stringified version of JSON. Now, ThunderClient's going to take that stringified version of JSON and then, deserialize it for us automatically behind the scenes. So we're not going to necessarily see the stringified version on its own. Also, if we tell JSON about this, it's going to say like, oh, this is actually JSON. We're responding with JSON. It's going to do that for us. We don't have to set any headers or do anything else for that, which is really nice. So let's figure out what we want to do for. Okay, how do we want to respond with this? I'm thinking that we pretend that we insert this into the database. So in that case, let's clone this to sort of pretend we have a brand new version of this game. So let's do like a let created game equals a game, and let's clone it. Let's also make this mutable. And I want to add an ID in, pretending sort of that it's a ID from a database. Now, if we go to our games from a model, if we add in an ID here, now an ID in a database, it's usually some kind of integer. I've noticed from CORM, which I've been using a lot recently, it comes in as a I64. But if I do this, we're going to require an ID even if we don't use it when we're creating the game, which is not really what we want to do. So Serde is actually aware of options. So if I do an option I64, now it's going to know, okay, if it's coming in without an ID, that's perfectly fine. It's just going to be a none now. And then I can insert this into the database. But then when I get it back from the database, I can use the same model and then add the ID in. Let's go ahead and do that here. We're going to say our created game ID is going to be equal to a sum. Let's say you're 42. And why are you upset at me? Oh, field ID is private. Okay, so I need to make you public so I can actually set this and do something with it. There we go. And then I want to respond with this, which we're going to use the exact same sort of extractor for this. It actually works in both ways, and that's because JSON implements both extractor and response or responder. I can't remember the name of the trait right off the top of my head, but it doesn't really matter. As long as it implements whatever that trait is, we can use it in that way. So here we can just say I want JSON, and the type is going to be a game. Okay, and so then that is going to be, okay, we're going to do a JSON and throw in created game. Leave off that semicolon so that it returns and everything looks good. Let's go ahead and restart our server. And if we head back to our Thunder client, we can now hit send, and we've now created sort of the Starfield game. It's on platform Steam, and its ID is 42, and we still have this printed out. So this is what we actually got in. It has a none here because Serde just sort of sees, hey, you didn't pass in an ID when we created this, so it must be a none. So that's fine, and that is how we extract JSON using the JSON extractor in a route handler, and then also how we then turn around and respond with JSON out. We don't have to do anything special. All we need is Serde for us. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye. All right. Hello. Hello, King. Hello, B Porter. You can read the code today. Excellent. I made it large enough. All right, let's turn on some of these things again. So we have obviously the most important thing, cat cam, which Zilby moved again. Oh, and the camera crashed. Of course it did. Let's see. Let's turn on you and you. Okay, and then before I forget, I also want to update the recording name. All right. What was this? This is basically Axum handling JSON. Okay. Okay, so King, you asked, how do I solve this? Tell me more. What is this, and where does it come from? It's from Rustlings. I haven't tried any of the Rustling stuff. So what's the problem? Like, what are you running into? The challenge is to return result in main. So like a result like that. I mean, so I see return error. Otherwise, return okay. And the okay has a tuple, sort of like this. Line 5 is also an error. Like cost equals total cost. So this question mark. All right. So do you know what the question mark is doing, or what it's trying to do? Parsing the result. Yeah, I guess like another way of putting it is it's basically saying, okay, unwrap this. Yeah, but it's like it's in another language it'd be more like, okay, hey, catch this, like try and catch and then rethrow it again if it's an error. Otherwise, continue on. So it's basically like a turning this like a match statement where it's like, okay, if it's okay, return the cost. Otherwise, just return a error, and then whatever type of error is passed in. Which, if we take a look at this, total cost here is returning a parse int error, which is the same type. So that means you can definitely return that. Get cost or throw exception. Essentially, yeah. Although it might be more specific to say get the cost or bubble up the error and make whoever calls this function deal with it. Which in this case it's main, which means that it's just going to crash if you have to deal with it. Oh yeah, I should turn that off. Good call out. Where's my timers? Disable that. I need some way. Does Nightbot have a I haven't seen a way for me to like auto turn on timers or not. I don't know if they have an API to do that. Well, so you have to look at the exact error. Like what's the error? Oh, is there another error? Or is there? Oh, here I see error right down below. All I have to do is go down. So the trait from stir is not implemented for parse error. So line 8. Ah, yeah. So this is the error. This is the strongly typed system trying to protect us in Rust. It's basically saying, hey, this thing that you're trying to return in the error must be this type right here. So to fix this, you need to, I mean, there's multiple ways that you can do this. I have no idea which way. I haven't done any Rustlings courses, so I can't tell you like what they would want specifically. Your options as a programmer would be, well, you can change this error to be something else. Generally being some kind of error is a good idea. as opposed to saying like, hey, it's all going to be strings now. Parse int error, if we take a look, we don't seem to have a parse int error like defined here. So it's not ours, so we can't like modify parse int error. So we can change what type we're returning errors wise. We could change the error that this total cost responds to be a parse int error or something else. We can change what error this responds with. Whatever it is, we want these to be exactly the same so that we can use the question mark here and we can use this here. Potentially, we don't need this. We could create like a custom error type. In a real world, I would use the this error crate to create that custom type, but that's probably outside the scope of Rustlings. If other functions can return a result, why shouldn't main? It's a fairly common convention to return something like result error type from your main function. That is not true. That is I do not agree with that at all. I'll get into that in a second. The unit tuple type is there because nothing is really needed in terms of positive results. Okay, so I mean, interesting. So it basically wants you to handle this in some way. It doesn't make sense for every error type coming out of here to be only a parse int error. So therefore it probably should be some other type of error, which in that case, I would probably create my own error type that implements error, the error trait, and then return that, which means I need to change that error coming from question mark. So I can't use the question mark anymore. You like to use map error, and then you have to implement that error in here too. But that being said, that's what I would do in a real world. Also in a real world, I would never do a result off of main because this would immediately crash without necessarily good feedback. And that's not always what we want to do. So I would probably handle this at this point. And then if I want to crash, I'm going to do a panic after a debug kind of message. I'm never going to let whoever calls this to deal with it. I only use result off of main for like really quick tests or something else. So that's like what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna solve it because I think that these are good things for people to like sort of like practice through. And I don't want to just like tell people how to do it, because I don't think that will like lead to good learnings. But does that help? Or does that just make it more confusing for Rustlings itself? Rustlings is confusing enough. I haven't tried any of it. Like it came out after I was starting to get going, and so I never really felt the need to. Oh, okay. Rustlings is confusing. It's because you didn't read the book. Reading the book is really helpful. I do feel that okay. If you're good at programming and you know sort of like other programming conventions, you may not need to read the book. You can instead use it as a reference and just go to sections when you need to, or just Google search for something like what is going on and what's happening. So in that case, like you may not need to read the book, but like knowing like, okay, this is like a strong type that it wants you to return. And of course, a static string isn't that type, and then parse int error doesn't implement into for as static stir. We can actually go and take a look at this. Let's see, Rust. And I believe parse and error is a real error. Yeah, so here's a parse and error. And if we look at they have their froms here. So if you implement from in Rust, it also implements into sort of on the other side. So you get sort of both if you do from, and if you just do into, you do not get from. So most people will just do from once. So we can see, okay, it's a generic for generic, and then it returns this. If we go and can we take a look at that? So from type T to this, and then just return that. That's not. That doesn't feel like it really helps. I guess like there's their into this feels like a little bit more. Feels like a little bit better, but of course from just does that, which I'm kind of surprised. But maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes. Yeah, they kind of do, don't they? But this is supposed to implement and actually do it. Like this is the implementation of the function from for the trait from. And it's like the code is going to be, it's just going to return this thing. So basically it has to already be the thing. And so, let's see. I think that means that I can't turn like a string into a parse int error. And if we take a look at the source for parse int error, it has this kind, which is an int error kind. So probably have to like walk up the type tree to sort of figure out where that comes from. Actually, no, here it is. Pub int error kind. So it's gonna be, so that's an enum. It's one of these things. So it's gonna be empty, invalid digit, positive overflow, negative overflow, 0. So it has to be one of these things if you want to return an parse int error. Otherwise, it's not allowed at all. This is public, which means you can access it and you can do stuff with it. Which one's option? This is not option. And these don't look like options either. Joey, you really want to start your degree to learn a lot more about programming. You feel really lost sometimes. Do you know what you feel lost about? Like data structures, coding patterns, terminology. Into calls impl into, right? Impl. Oh, okay. So first, I'll answer Joey's question, then I'll get to you, King. So data structures, coding patterns, terminology. Yeah, those can be, especially like terminology, can be pretty like sort of like complex. I would say they're more. I'd say they're more complicated than complex. They're things to learn and sort of like know about, but having a little bit of context can help a lot. So if you want a head start with like, you know, programming, especially in like a degree, I would just try to make something and don't worry about data structures. Don't worry about making it right. This isn't necessarily, you're not going to use this as a professional project or something. It's just going to be, just make something. If you want to make like, you know, like a games inventory system to like inventory all your games, or if you want to make something to like store all the quests that you're working on in the game, or if you want to store like, okay, here's all the people that I'm watching on Twitch, then let me like, you know, try to hit their API to see if they're live or not. Just make something for yourself. Don't worry about if it's good or not. That's not the point. The point is to just sort of dip your toes into the programming waters. And then when you learn the data structures in university or college or wherever you're going to learn it from, then you'll have context for, oh, I can now apply this data structure in my previous code. I now see that. I couldn't see it before. Does that make sense? And then King, so into calls into. So if we come here to so if you run .into on something, it just calls the function into. If you do an impl into for it, that forces into the function to be added to whatever struct or enum or whatever object it is that it's going to be added to. And it then tells the compiler into is a function that exists on this type. Therefore, it is now available to be used. So it doesn't call impl into, it just calls into. Impl into tells the compiler into is available for this thing. I hope that helps. And conversely, if the compiler tells you that into isn't available for a type, that is telling you that for that thing in the impl into was never created. And this gets like, if you're familiar with generics, then that makes a little bit more sense. Otherwise it'd be like, what, it's available for all generics, right? Like there, it might be locked down, or it might be like not available for some types, but available for some other types. The compiler kind of like should know everything. Sometimes it gets a little bit confused and a little bit weird, but generally speaking, for that kind of stuff, the compiler should know what's going on. All right. We have, I can remove you, and we can add in, okay, so we created that thing and you. Excellent. So our next thing is going to be route handler can take in path variables. So I haven't really tried this before. Let's try updating the stream title. So this is going to be handling path variables. That. this will be what I'm working on now. And we're going to start with the article itself, which means I can close VS Code. We don't need this anymore. And we can come back to you. Let's see. What do we have in here? Do we have any path variable type stuff? I don't see anything. So let's create one. All right, so we have you. You're set up there like that. All right, what things do we need to do? We need cargo, add Tokyo. Cargo, add path variables. I don't need. Error is hard in Rust. Oh yeah, yes. There. How long ago was it? It was not terribly long ago that the Rust they talked about they're adding in a error group. There's a types team. Do we have an shape of errors to come? So this was August 10th in 26. Okay, so is that the only time? That's 1-of-1 match. I'm pretty sure things have changed a little bit, but not, unfortunately, a huge amount since then. I haven't used Golang, so I can't tell you how, like, I don't know how similar or not it is. Errors are in Golang. Yes, this is. I want to say that Rust spun up a error group, but it looks like they didn't post about it on their blog. So maybe it was like tweeted out or something. I don't remember where it was. And it might be like the Inside Rust blog or something like that. Working groups. Here we go. I think they have an errors group. Or not. I guess it must be one of these other groups, unless they finished what they're working on, which I can't imagine they did. There's still so much work that needs to be done with errors. So errors must be being handled by one of these other groups, which I'm not sure which one it is. Let's see. We have go by example in errors. All you need is the error type. Or is in Go, are all errors the exact same type, no matter what? So you can import errors. It's an interface. Okay. Well, I mean, that's kind of similar to how it works. So in Rust, In Rust, there's a error trait, which is kind of like an interface, or at least as close as you can get. So if I wanted to make like an actual like error something, I can do, enum my error, and we'll just say like, cool thing happened. And then I'll have to impl error for my error. And I don't want to do that. So if what are you on about? It doesn't implement display. So the trait display is not implemented for my error. In format strings, you may be able to use that instead. Okay, so it needs to implement display, and it needs to implement debug. Well, debug's fine, so we can do derive debug, but display is less easy, so we'll have to do impl display. I think it's that one for my error. So it is simple, but it's also complex because I have to like manually do this if I want my own error. Otherwise, it has to be like, well, one of the errors that this has already been done to. So implement missing members. Okay, we have the formatter. I have to remember there's. How do I do this? It's it's using the right. I remember now. So I could use the right macro to say, I have to pass in like F, and then I can say, okay, this is like, we had a horrible error. It sucks. I can even just like say here, that is what you get. I want to return what right says. Okay, now I can say that this error returns something. So I can now have like let's do a function, do the thing. This takes in maybe like let's do like a standard sum, like adding two things, like I32, return a result that's going to have an I32 or a my error. I want, let's see. We'll say if, what am I doing? This is not how you do things. This is one. How many of you were really confused for a second, wondering what I was thinking? All right. If you were confused. Okay, so if 1 is equal to 0 or 2 is equal to 0. So if either of those are 0, I want to return early. So we're going to do return an error, and it's going to be a my error, cool thing happened. Else, I want to return an okay of like 1 plus 2. Something like that. And then we can now do the, we can debug it, right? So I can debug, do the thing of like, I don't know, 0, 5. And if I, wanted to, I could say, okay, main returns a result of that plus my error. I never do this in production, but for like testing this is fine. So let's actually do the thing. Let's put this into a variable. So that result equals do the thing. 1, 0, question mark U, and then we'll debug results, and then we'll turn okay like that. So if I run this, where am I? I'm in Axum path, I think. We get this, okay, error, cool thing happened, which is, that didn't, I was sort of expecting that to print out. But I think it's just literally printing out the debug of this. Can you do like result I32 error with return error my error? Yes, like I can do a return here. It's like I can do that. I then need a semicolon. Now Clippy is going to yell at me and say, hey, unneeded return statement. I don't need to do the return statement here because this is the last thing. Notice there's no semicolon at the end of this if statement. The return type on line 10. Oh, line 10. Oh, can I do results I32 error? No, I cannot. So if I do error like this, error isn't a type. Error is a trait. So this would be like me trying to return the interface itself. I would need to say it is, I can't say implements, right? I have to say like dyn, and then it gets really weird. So yeah, no, I can't say that. I have to return a specific type for this. That's the reason why I have to return a specific my error. I know it gets fun. You can do that in Golang. So I guess that's a big difference in Go then. Is error is an actual type, whereas this is a interface or a trait, which is like the equivalent of an interface. And so you can't return a trait without some special things to like basically say, okay, it's something that implements this trait, which you kind of do, but it's more of a pain. That's actually the reason why I tend, so here, if we take this sucks. I don't like this. Let's update that. Let's like use our tools to like make this infinitely better. So if I return, let's pull in cargo add this error. I can now say, okay, I want this, my error here. I want to now pull in the error trait. Oh, I have to restart the LSP. I want to import the error trait, the error derive macro from this error. And now I can say, will you tell me exactly? I think it's like this error, and then a really horrible error happened. Sorry, it's a sad face. Is that it? Conflicting implementations. Oh yeah, it's 2 errors have been defined. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, there we are with that. I can't implement error from my error anymore. That's done. I don't even want to implement display like that for that anymore. Okay, must do that correctly. Let's not return you. Okay, all right, so this works. I don't need that display anymore. So just implementing this error, I've cleaned this up a lot. I've turned it into an error. It's going to implement error for me behind the scenes. So if I do cargo run, it now says, okay, so same thing is happening. It's so far, everything is perfectly fine. Now I want one more error handling thing. So I need two things to pull in. I personally like error, A-E-Y-R-E. But anyhow, is the other like super popular one. There's another like 2 or 3, and I forget what they're called. I just watched Jane talk about the error. I forget her last name in a conference talk, and she also was streaming on Twitch at the time, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna use this. So we're gonna do cargo add error. And so now this allows me to use, I have to remember every time I have to do that, until Helix updates. Okay, I can do error. We're gonna use the result type from error as opposed to the normal result type. And now this result type, I don't have to tell it an error anymore. I can just say, okay, it's going to return the positive thing. It's going to return this I32, and I can get rid of that too. And then when I give this error, okay, so I want this specific error here. We have to do a dot into for this. Now, say, okay, convert this into the appropriate error for this result. And now, when I run this, now I get this error that I actually printed out. Not only that, I get my location of where it printed out, so I can actually see what's going on. I can get a trace if I want to. Error gives me some really cool things that I can do if I want to with it. For the most part, I don't really care. And then this way, let's say I have a completely different error. I want to what's a different error? I guess we can create that we can create the int error that we had before. So if I do something like let's try like U32. I do a try into. So let's do what can I try to turn this into? And it should fail. Let my thing, which is a string, actually might work for that. So what's something that a number can never try into? I don't think it can become a static string, right? So I want a thing that's a static str to try into that, and then no, don't duplicate that. Question mark you. Oh, I deleted you? Okay. I'll do 1U32. The trait bound is not satisfied. Just try. Oh, it won't even attempt to do the thing. Well, that's too bad. I was really hoping that try into would actually like try to do it at runtime, and then we can get the error. But it looks like the type system is a little bit too good for that. But basically, anything that implements that error trait will work. So that way, many different types of errors, I can still do question mark on it, and it just works now. So it sucks, but there's solutions. I suppose this could be one of those like small videos that we could do. What would that be? It would be manually implementing the error. It's like, who wants to do that? Let's just instead use error or something else. If I put in isn't it actually simple to implement your error? Yeah, we did it. We actually did it pretty quickly. I think where it gets less simple if you want like sort of a complex, like many errors. It's just more of I guess it's not complex. It's more of tedious. It's like, okay, I have to do this again. Fine. And so then we're just like, I just don't want to handle it. You handle it. And then we just outsource it to, error and this error, something like that. You can make other error handlers later. Yeah. No need for one catch-all. I mean, I think most of we do that a lot because we're just lazy. We have panic for that. Yeah. Yeah, we totally want panic everywhere. Also, the real Enrico. Hello. How are you doing today? Is my company hiring? It is not hiring. So sorry about that. Just apply WD-40. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do to our code. We should call like the custom error WD-40. I think the big thing about errors here is the fact that it's just we're lazy. But yeah, if I wanted to do like a custom video for this, it would probably be for like, okay, let's just create creating an error. They actually have documentation in the standard library for this. Sure, let me update our description. We'll just take a little side path on creating Rust, creating errors manually in Rust. I'm gonna try to like keep the title up to date. I want to see whether or not that actually makes more sense. Okay, so we go to our standard library. No, not library as I want. I should re-put this back into my bookmarks. All right, so I want the standard, the error type is returned for formatting, interfaces for working with errors. Okay, so there's the error trait. All right, so this is like the standard error trait. So it implements debug and display. Can I give you the search URL? For this? For like this trait error? Is that what you mean? I can definitely give this. I don't know if that's exactly what you want, but there's that one. Oh, go back in URL. Yeah. Huh. I don't have... I'm not sure which one it is. I don't have it. Oh, this one? Where I search for error? Like that? Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like some kind of like a Google or DuckDuckGo search. Not, I wasn't thinking about this search, but yeah. If you go to the docs, you can hit S or just go into search here and just like type search. It's great. It gives you really good results as long as you know exactly what you're looking for, which is both really good and really bad. ABD, hello. How are you doing today? I know I have several complaints about Rust. One of my biggest complaints is discoverability of things that exist, but you just have no clue that they exist for you until somebody shows them to you. Because like if you don't know, you're never gonna come here to search for it to find out. And documentation is really good if you can get to the page where the documentation is, which sucks. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a horrible website. I think it's really good. And these are created automatically too, which is great. Like this is auto-generated documentation from the actual code base. And then you can get this in your own code. It's like, here, let's come back to here. So I have my error that implements this. Let's do a cargo doc. Okay, implement the docs. I want to open this. So here's the documentation that's auto-generated for that little thing that I did. So we have, okay, here's my error. Here's everything that it's attempting to do. Here's all the things that it's creating. So it is really nice. It's just also like hard to find stuff too. So there's a lot of work to be done on it, but I wouldn't say it's horrible. Package go dev, that just shows, is that going to show just the list of packages? Yeah, like search for, well, this is packages that you can use in, right? Or is this the actual language packages? So, okay, standard library sub. Oh, so this is like standard library and sub repository. So this is standard library stuff, right? Oh, this is external and internal packages. Interesting. Everything Go is a package. Ah, so that's sort of like a combination of standard library and crates.io for Rust. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Demoroy, hello. How are you doing today? All right. If we want to come back here, let's take a look at the error trait. It works great for Golang. That's awesome. I do like that. I do like that you can easily tell what's inside of Rust and then what's like potentially third party and like not normal things. Oh, package names are like golang.org/. Okay, so you can sort of then in that case see what's actually Golang. Yeah, I wish that they hadn't just straight followed like the npm model for Rust packages, or at least attempted to namespace it. It feels like namespacing is eventually something that everybody did in npm eventually on their own, and they just didn't wait for npm to implement something, which I don't think they're ever going to. I mean, you can use GitHub packages in Rust too, so I mean that's an option, and I've done it for some things. But okay, so let's see. Oh, I would need to implement this, right? I think I need to implement this to make the error show up and do its thing. So let's try this. Let's actually exit out. Oh, there's no namespace, so kind of. Oh, that's too bad. Creates follows the way of npm. In a way, yes. I would say that it's a pretty good sort of like mental model to say like, hey, creates.io is kind of like npm. So if we head over here, it's we can search for things. We do error. Oh yeah. No namespace. So if we want like any kind of error handling creates, okay, we can search for that. It searches across like the description, the error type itself. So let's search for like error, because we know that's what we're going for. And we get everything that sort of like has to deal with that. Okay, that's great. If we go in, we see the README documentation. We see links to the actual documentation. We see links to the GitHub. We see license information. We can see how much it's been downloaded and used. We can get version information, things like that. It even has like a copy for us to like add this into our project. Startup Builder, hello. I have not been, well, okay, I finished the LMS. I finished the LMS, like the MVP of the LMS, and then we've been recording videos and just doing other stuff, and it's been slow going. Just slowly, writing articles now and doing stuff, but it's good. So not yet ready to like actually start running a course, but going through it. Shit ton of CI traffic. Yeah, there's I think you actually can see what the CI traffic is. I did, yeah. So the project is deployed online. That's one of the things that I did early on, is I deployed it online on day one. So it's been deployed since like I began working on it. It's one of the suggestions I have to any developer is deploy as part of like the hello world, and then you could just like keep on deploying from there. Don't wait until the end to deploy to find, oh crap, this doesn't work, or it doesn't work in production but it works locally. That way you can test everywhere. Okay, so I think if let's create something for this. Let's do, I don't have to go to play mode. Let's actually just create a new. Errors. ADB, no, ABD. You redeemed Pet the Cat. Yeah, we can pet Zilby. Hi, sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Oh, of course that froze. Here we go. Hi. Good cat, good cat. Yeah, no, Zilby's a good cat. Except when I don't play with him enough. Then he becomes less of a good cat. But that's mostly my fault. All right. I'll leave him alone. I wish from the feed itself I could manage those. What did I do? I want that can go on the left there like that. Mark you as complete. You generally love cats, even when he can give you a scare on the hand, you weren't even mad. Yeah, Zilby generally doesn't do that, except when, if I don't feed him at night before bed, or I don't play with him enough, he'll decide, okay, now is playtime. And so like there's been a couple incidents where he's like, hey, your feet look like a great toy because you haven't played with me enough. And then that results in us waking up with him attacking our feet through like, you know, blankets and sheets, which are not quite as fun. She did by mistake. Yeah, Zilby doesn't want to hurt us. It's just that he has claws and teeth. All right. Let's see. I want to. All right. I already did a rest up update. So let's do a cargo new. What do I want to call this? Errors. So like manual errors. All right, so I want to remember how this goes. WD-40. I'm not going to name it WD-40. I would... WD-40 is a brand, right? So they own the name. That'd be hilarious if I like named like the project WD-40 and then they claimed the video. All right, so I want, let's see. What do I want to do with this? I want to say I want to do this at least once on my own, and then we'll do like a quick video on this. So we'll do. I want an enum, like my error. So we'll do like a custom. So. Really cool error, and that's what happened here. Now we want to implement error, which is that for my error, which then you're upset about display and then debug. So debug we can do something about. So we can do derive debug. We want to display for my error. How about hello Chantilly? How are you doing today? How about WD-50? Well, clearly that's clearly the more better version. That's the better version. I don't know. I need some WD-50 in my life. That would be hilarious if we could somehow make that a thing. How did I start the debugger? I didn't see it. So debugger is not really. So this is Rust Analyzer. Automatically starts for me whenever I open up a Rust project in Helix. So yeah, I can put the cursor on an enum name and hit space A to generate impl. Yeah. So I can do that, implement missing members. So there we go. We have to use that write macro. So we can do write, and then I pass in that formatter, and then I can just put in wherever I want here. So like I can just do, this is my error. Code actions are lifesavers. They are. All right, and then this write macro returns that result, that standard format result. So I don't need to worry about that. Now you're just yelling at me because I've never used it. Great. So then we want a function. So function, do the thing. That is, let's say it's like that 1, 32, 2, I32, and you're going to return a result with an I32 or a my error. I want to say like if 1 is equal to 0 or 2 equal to 0, we're going to turn error, my error, really cool error, else turn okay, 1 plus 2, let's say. 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. So that's what I want to go for here. Save you 2 seconds. I think the biggest thing that it really helps with, though, is if you don't really remember exactly how this format works. Like, this is complicated. There's a lot of parts to this. So auto-generate it means that I don't accidentally mistype something here. Then it just works every time. If you got to use Helix, you'll need to reform your brain. Use space db for breakpoint. Oh yeah, I mean you can change all those things with Helix, but that kind of like, it sucks to sort of change them all too. But yeah, it took about a month, I would say, before I really stopped pressing the wrong keys all the time. Now I only press the wrong keys some of the time. Just still fun. All right, so there's that, and then do the thing is still upset with me, so I want to say let oh, okay, we'll just do like 1 equals 0, 2 equals 5, result equals, we could match this, or I could just do the main. Let's match this. So we'll match, do the thing, pass in 1, 2, we'll have the okay, which is going to be the results. Here are the results. We have the error, which is going to be the error, which is that specific my error there. And I want to now, I want to display this out. So I want to do an ePrintLine error, doing the thing. I want something like that. It's going to give me the this is my error here. and then I want to panic. Actually, I don't. I can just panic. We're just gonna panic that. Okay, you're happy. You become that, and then we can print line. The result is. Okay, so then if I run this, we get the thread main panicked at error doing the thing. This is my error. So this is my error here. Obviously I would need to like then figure out what this is. So if I have multiple of these, I have to like, grab them out, figure out what I want to display, and then do the appropriate thing for this. Do I use arrow key? I do use arrow key. I use arrow key in a couple different scenarios. If you ever see me in insert mode and then I'm moving around, that's obviously arrow key. And then also if I'm I'm already on the left. If I'm got some like auto completions going on, there's like something I can do. Can I have like auto completions here? I don't know. Oh, right. Control X. That gives me auto completions here. So here, I'll use arrow keys for this, for up and down, because I can't actually type at that point in time. I use arrow keys when I have to go just write like 1 or 2 characters and then hit like the semicolon. That's when I use arrow keys. When I'm in insert mode, usually. Also, if I'm feeling really lazy and I just expend more effort physically, which is kind of the opposite of lazy, to just go down a couple lines while I'm in insert mode because, reasons. Control N for list down. Oh, that's nice. I was wondering what new line is. Oh, wait, no, I have to lock this. And then that's control. Okay, so nope. All right. That would have worked if I hadn't then broke it, but cool. So control N for list down. N. I'm surprised that it's N and not like J. And then control P for, oh, that's kind of awkward on my keyboard. It's like N and P. I don't like it. It's easier for me to use arrow keys. I have the Colmax keyboard, so P is actually on the R key. Which that means it's like, okay, that's a little bit more awkward for me. I have to use control then on my right hand. Or I have to like do an awkward like Vulcan grip on my left hand. It's not great. Okay, so use Dvorak. Okay, so Dvorak definitely does a lot more keyboard changes. Colmax is less than Dvorak. You stopped arrow keys a long time ago. You used tab for auto completion and control HJKL and telescope.nvim. The arrows kind of away in your keyboard. Okay, they're away in your keyboard and they're also too small and weird to use. Oh, I've seen some of those, like especially in like some laptop keys have them all in like one row like that instead of in the like sort of the T function. I have a normal arrow keys and it's a compressed keyboard but full size, so it's actually really close and it's not that far. So I just go ahead and use them. I do know somebody when they started using Vim, the first thing they did was they went into the config and they disabled the arrow keys. Oh, okay. So you got the laptop keys. The laptop that I have has normal arrow keys, but they are smaller, so it's easier to sort of mishit them. But again, they're still underneath return, as opposed to maybe like more to the right of it. The other keyboard that I have, which I use as sort of like the gaming keyboard, that has arrow keys in the normal position, which is way out to the right, and I don't program with that at all, so I don't have to worry about it. I generally don't do that. I just use the arrow keys whenever it feels natural to do so for me, I guess, if that makes any sense. All right. Is there anything else that we would want to cover for this? We have our backtrace, so we're able to see that, okay, it panicked. They panicked at line 8, which is here. We're able to see the message. This is my error. If I do the backtrace 1, it should show me that it then came like all the things that it went through and did. I mean, so I think this is gonna be fine, right? Andrew, hello. You also disable them to get used to the HJKL, but you'll re-enable them once you feel comfortable. I mean, yeah, like that's a good way to do it. All right. What's the thesis, or what's the point of this video? It's basically just gonna be like how to create an error. Like errors in Rust aren't as hard as you might think that they are. Sylvie, are you heading out? Sylvie's heading out. Oh, he hears somebody upstairs. I think he thinks there's gonna be food upstairs. Let's see. And this is a super basic, simple error for us. I don't know if there's anything else we really care about. I think you can also do like a description, right? Is that true? Interesting. So I can do that. That's a line through? What's that? Deprecated method. Use the display impl or toString. Okay, so description isn't really a thing anymore. Is there a way to make a colored error? I want to say we have to use the... there's a way to make logs colored. And I forget how to do it. There's a color something trait. Sorry, not trait. There's a crate. I don't think I've ever used it. There's colors like that. It's very few. Does it apply on the errors though? You'd have to manually add it in. So there's colorized, which is again still not usually used. Do you use the colored crate? Display color to the console. So yeah, you can basically say okay, and print line You then say what color it's going to be. Yeah, let's take a look at colored. Ah, that's used a little bit more often. So we can just do like red. Okay, so we could do that. And we can make it red, right? So let's add this. Features no color? That's a really odd feature to have in there. On blue is like for background color. So this is red on blue. That sounds like it. Let's find out. So if I do this, let's try this. If I do like a panic thing, I'm curious about this now. So if I say we have our error, oh, it was not gonna be that. We're gonna do error here. So error doing the thing, and I want to take you and say, okay, I want to write you. We're gonna do blue. How do I use this? So add this to my cargo, add this to my main. Okay, so they have the extern crate. We don't need that. Oh, they even mentioned, okay, we don't need that. Use colored star, okay. And then it just works, okay. Remove the whole use item. Cool. And then it just works. Does it only work for print line? Can I do it in here? You're upset. Okay, does this work? All right, what am I supposed to do with this? Oh, I'm supposed to do it out here like that. Okay, that's the problem that I'm running into. I'm using it wrong. So all right. So it'd be like this. There we go. Use blue like that. Remove you. You're fine like that. Right. Run. There we go. Okay, so we have this. Can you see that as a blue? It's a very sort of light blue against the black background. All right, so I can do blue on. There's a bunch here. Let's do the blue on red. Let's see how that looks. Or I can just use color error if I'm using error, which is what my choice usually is. But okay, there's the background for this text. And then the foreground is that blue. So yeah, this is pretty simple to use. And then I suppose we can match with this. So we'd probably want to do something like let message equals match on self equal error. This is gonna be this is a really cool error. Sorry. We could do like blue and black and other stuff here. So we can do, we don't care about that though, probably. Then we do right, remove you, and we'll do our message, make you blue on red there. And then you display. And then you're everything we expect you to be. Okay. We could do a little bit of it. We could do a video for this. Let's start with something that already exists. So I want to just do not do a match. This, do the thing. Okay, so that gives me that. The result is you. Do the thing. You return that. Okay, so you return you without the okay. We won't have the error here, and we won't implement display or anything like that. So we won't use you. Okay. Oh, I should remove the colored, right? So I think I can do cargo. Can I do, is it cargo remove? What was my cargo add? Yeah, okay. So cargo remove colored, like that. All right. So we start with this, and then we want to do an error. Want to do an error. So I'm not going to do the sort of like recording thing for these ones. I'm going to experiment with these shorter videos that we put out as just, okay, let's just try it out. Let's like chat as part of this. I'll respond to chat as like, answering any questions as we go through it. I'll leave music on. I'll leave, if Zilly was here, I'd leave cat cam on. Stuff like that. I think it's okay to sort of show, hey, this is part of the stream. We're just doing a little side mission to chat about errors. So let's double check that this works. We're gonna run. All right, result is 5. Then let's, I don't know. I don't have anything else to do. So let's try it out. And how do I want to begin? I think I did like, hello, this is Brooks from Brooks Builds. So I'll try that again. Hey YouTube, it's Brooks from Brooks Builds again. We're live on stream here on Twitch, and we were chatting about errors since we decided to do a short, sort of short-term video again on error handling and how we can create manual errors. Because normally we just, go out and pull this error or some other error handling library in Rust, and then we just use that instead. But how hard is it to just create our own errors if we wanted to do that? Well, let's go ahead and do that. Get it done. Figure it out. Manually implement it. Let's see. So I have a basic Rust application already set up here. We're just taking in 1, 2, and doing the thing is really just adding them together. Okay, great, normal. It gives us 5. But what if we wanted to have an error say that, hey, if this is 0, if one of the numbers is 0, then return an error, and that's a terrible thing. Well, let's go ahead and manually create an error. The standard thing that I've seen for the most is to use an enum. That way we can have multiple errors together and sort of like have one centralized error that we share across the entire application. I think that's fine. So we're going to do a enum my error. And this will be like cannot be 0. And that's going to be fine for this. We do need to implement the error trait for it. And we have to do this manually. We can't derive this. We have to impl error, and we're going to pull in error from standard error for my error. And let's see. That's all we need to do for error. Now it is yelling at us. It says we need to implement display and we need to implement debug. Well, debug's pretty easy. We could just derive that. Okay, but the display part is a little bit more difficult. We can't just like derive a display for it. So instead, we're going to manually implement display. And this is going to be essentially the message that's going to be printed out when we handle this error later. So display, we do want the standard format display here, not the standard path display. And there's only one function that we need to implement for this, format. And if we take a look at format here, and I tell the code editor to sort of show the documentation for this, it's pretty simple. All we're going to use is this write macro right here to basically write a string out. This isn't going, directly to the console. This is just basically going to whoever's calling this to become a string, and then we can sort of like do whatever we want with it at that point in time. So we do take in this F, which is a formatter, and we don't really care what that is. We don't have to worry about that. The write macro handles that for us. Let's go ahead and deal with that. Now, before I do anything, I do realize, what if we have more errors that we can possibly pick up? Let's match that. So we're going to have our message. We're going to match on self. So if we have a self cannot be 0, then I want this message to be one of the numbers must be above 0. Okay. Then I want to write out using the write macro. The first thing is we're going to pass it that format, the formatter, and then it's basically like print line or panic or debug or anything like that. We just hand it a string and we just say whatever we want to say. So here it's going to be, let's see, error. What is our error? Error, an error occurred. And then our message. Now we are returning the result of write, which is itself a standard format result. So we don't need to worry about that. We just run write and return whatever it wants to return. Great. Now the only warning is telling us, hey, it's not being used. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. We have our do the thing function. Let's tell it to return a result here. It's going to be an I32 if it's successful, but if it's a failure, it's going to be a my error. Which means, now, how do we get that error? If any one of them are 0, right? So if 1 is equal to 0 or 2 is equal to 0, I want to return an error with a my error cannot be 0. Otherwise, I want to return an OK 1 plus 2. Okay. Now, of course, this result is returning a, well, this result here, that's not great. I'm in main function, so I don't want to necessarily create a result here that I can then just, well, return. So instead, let's match this up, and then we'll handle the error properly at this point. So we'll do a match, do the thing. Let's build a match arms. Zilby's trying to get in front of here. Let's see if he tries again. He just failed to go underneath the entire computer. All right. Let's see. I want OK. You're going to be the result, and I want you to just return the result. Okay, that's fine. Now, if we're in error, I'm taking this error. Now, at this point, we're in main, so I'm okay with this crashing at this point in time. So I'm just going to panic. So that way, it's not a 0 exit code, so that everything that's running this knows that it failed. And I believe it's going to be a 101 exit code if we use panic. Okay, we're going to panic, and I'm going to say, well, we can just put that error directly out here. So we're going to just do error, just like that. All right, and then we have a print line. Now, this obviously is going to cause a problem because that 1 is actually a 0. So let's run this again. And here we go. We have thread main panicked. An error occurred. One of the numbers must be above 0. So we get a proper error message here. And we could get a backtrace if we want to sort of show everything of how it happened. It doesn't really matter right now. And that's it. Like, that's all we really need to do to implement errors on our own. Now, do I do this all the time? No, I usually use this error, or, well, I use this error combined with, error or anyhow or something like that, mostly because I'm lazy, not necessarily because I can't do this. So hopefully this is something that's helpful and lets you sort of like know a little bit more about Rust, a little bit more about errors. And if you do choose thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. All right. We have that recorded. Let's get that renamed. This is Rust handling errors. I'm going to call it a short, even though it's clearly not a short. That was more than 1 minute. But they're shorts for me. They're my shorts. But okay, so we have that up. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I want to, let's put this on GitHub too. So I have you. You're all good here. And I want you to be, I guess this is initial commit. The voice raised too much when I ended the recording. Oh, really? Oh. Was that during the middle of the recording, or did it was it nice to wait until the end? Also, if that raised when I ended the recording. Oh no, I hope, okay. I'll take a look. I'll watch through it. Let me rename that again. just a bit before I ended. Oh no. Okay, so hold on. Rust handling errors, check, and volume. Yeah, I just unplugged and replugged it in to fix the problem. It I don't know why it okay. I think I'm gonna buy a new cable. We're gonna see if that's the problem. I was for several streams in a row, everything was just fine, and nothing bad happened. But suddenly, again, it's like coming back. So I think it must be the cable. That must be the problem. If I unplug the mic and plug it back in, everything is just fine. So that kind of sucks. I hope it's not the microphone. I do use OBS, yeah. And I don't have, so it's a Blue Yeti mic, so it's going straight into the computer. I don't have anything that the mics are going into first, that then go into the computer. So I don't have a device. I don't know what I would use. Like, I'm not really a sound person, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to use. It could be an OBS thing. That could be it too. But I don't know what's causing it. Unless like, OBS voice isn't that great. Sometimes it does weird stuff. Yeah, that's true too. So you know what I wonder? I wonder if like in editing that I can reduce the volume of it and at least make that part okay. Or we could just mute and like just cut that part off. I don't know. I'll take a look at it, and if I need to tomorrow, we can re-record it again. I'll play around with it. But I have no idea what would be causing it. Now in that case, what happened before I pressed the stop recording button, right? So I don't want to have to rebuild the Windows computer. I did find another microphone, but it has, so I'm not a sound person. I don't know. Let's talk about discoverability. I don't know what's the, I don't have it down here, unfortunately, so I can't show you. I need to figure out what the name of the device that I need to plug a microphone that has that sort of like the three-prong like circle output is. If I do that, I could use that mic. I don't know what that is though, and it doesn't have a name on the cable itself or the mic. So I need to go like just Google search and image search and figure that out sometime. All right, so let's do manual errors. Let's maybe do manually. So I want like a name to like namespace this, where it's just like a short. It's like an experiment. Maybe like error playground. I could rename this error playground error. Playground manual errors. This on Brooks builds. Okay, so description will be manually implementing an error in Rust. Sure, that'll be public. Yes, that's yes, and that's pushed up. So here is the link to that code if you want to take a look at it and you want to play around with it yourself. Obviously, it's super simple and there's not like much in it, but it is like sort of focusing on errors. You know what I realized would be nice for GitHub is if I could do folders. If I could organize the repos in like folders here, that would be nice. But it's just like a flat list. And yeah, I could like add tags. I've not done that before. I've not played with tags before. All right, so there's that. You're good. Okay, so back to you. It is 8:30. Stream ends in around 15 minutes or so. Do I feel like just sort of like, I don't know if I feel like trying to get it back into this today. What were we working on with this? Oh, I was gonna set up a hello world for this. Watch that. What is it? I don't usually like. I haven't been going to Reddit for a while. A groundhog named Chunk has been stealing a. Is it just like a funny animal video? I'll watch it later after a stream. Code NZ, hello. Code NZ, hello. Good morning. Web development or game development? Yes. No. Mostly web development. But how are you doing today? Let's see. Found a neat cargo command. Cargo temp creates cargo project with libraries you choose and will remove it after you're done. What? Hold on. What is this? Cargo temp. Oh, no such command named temp. So it must be. Is it like that? Okay, so it's not built in. Who made it? I don't know Johan. But let's see. A CLI tool, how often is it used? Good documentation. Oh, hey, Zilby. Welcome back. Sort of. Just resting after your stream right now. Awesome. What were you streaming game development or web development? Okay, not too many downloads, but 23 versions. Is that an artifact? That looks like a weird artifact there. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. If you want to use the generate feature, okay, so we have the latest Rush version, so this should be fine. Web development game. Oh, you're creating a UI web-based game. Nice. So is it all like JavaScript or? I would imagine so. If it's web. You found a library as tools list? Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Create a new temporary project with no additional dependencies. So cargo temp. With multiple dependencies. Okay, so random Tokyo. We can specify the version. This is gonna get not fun about like for specifying though. Like that one command is gonna get really long. Sadly, yes. Core HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, no libraries. Don't ask, you're regretting it. Okay, I won't ask. But I can imagine. I've usually I've done game dev in the past, but I've never done no libraries. I've always used some kind of engine. Okay. How do you do features? Or does it do like all features? Okay, so that does all these different things. That's fine. Okay, you gotta features to a dependency with plus. Okay, so cargo temp start a plus derive. Yes, this is gonna really suck. So if I wanted to create oh, interesting. If you change your mind and decide to keep the project, you can just delete the to-delete file, and the directory will not be deleted when the shell or the editor exits. Interesting. So this is going to keep it up only for as long as your editor is up, and then it's going to delete everything for you, which is interesting. If you want to create a temporary project from a Git repository, you can use the --git option. Oh, interesting. So this is going to clone down and then allow me to sort of play with that and then delete that later. Well, that's cool. Generate a temporary project from a template using cargo generate. I wonder if cargo generate would be more interesting to me though. I'm trying to think of like how often I want to not keep something forever. Usually I'm like okay with keeping it on my computer, but maybe not. Like maybe I don't care and we can just use cargo temp. Let's install it though and see how we feel about it. So we're gonna do cargo install, cargo temp. Yeah, I should have been using React or something for JS because you don't know JS, so you're learning as you go. To be fair, you've done well, but you think you need to hire a helper now. I mean, if you don't know JS, I don't know if using like something like React would be helpful, right? Because then it might be, unless you like know React, because then it's like, okay, well, where's the problem? Is the problem in React or is the problem in JS? I could see it like if you're using this as a learning project, this sounds like great. It sounds perfect. We're going to do cargo temp. We'll do testing temp. I want Serde plus derive. I want Tokyo plus. See, I've forgotten what it is, and like that's the problem. Is like I need to remember. I don't remember what the features are for it. Oh, I thought it should be cargos. Wait, let's just do this. Let's find out. Config file created at. Okay. Temporary project created at. Oh, interesting. It doesn't create it in this folder. It creates it in the cache. So it moved me here. To exit the project, you can type exit or use Control D. Is my shell still? Okay, so I'm still using ZSH, so it didn't like lock me into another shell, but I wonder if it's something else. Yeah, well, from what I understand, I can use cargo dash temp or cargo space temp. It works either way. Just Tokyo full? I guess that's true. I could do Tokyo full. Is that... So I guess I can just do cargo add at this point. Cargo add, like Tokyo. And, okay, full is a feature name. Right, it's like the RT multi-thread and macros are what I need. But I could just do full. So here, let's Control D. So Control D exits out of a terminal. It's the equivalent of exit. So that project is gone, right? So if I try to find it, yeah, it deleted that. You're about to get into pathfinding and stuff with JS. So you got that to look forward to. Oh, that sounds fun. Like the pathfinding part. I mean, JS is good for that kind of stuff. Okay, so then we can do cargo temp. So interesting. So it's going to create this with a temporary name, no matter what I do. So this could just be cool project. And then we can just do Serde, Drive, Tokyo, full, that. And then cargo run. Interesting. Oh, it named it temp as the name of the project. Huh. And dependencies are cool project. I did it wrong. I'm not supposed to give it a name. Oh, there's no name. There's no name to it. That's what the problem is. There's no name. Okay, got it. Loki, hello. What do I mean by creating errors? So we did right before you joined. I attempted to create a video, and I don't know how well it worked because apparently at the very end my microphone decided to go crazy. But we were creating an error manually in Rust. So this was the code base for it. Just basic version of one of the features. Users buy a patrol car, create a custom route that car drives on the interactive map. Then they can actually see that the car is driving that the car's icon driving that route on the map. Might sound easy for you, but you think I've never done that specific problem, so it probably doesn't sound necessarily that easy to me. I haven't done like my own pathfinding from scratch before. It sounds fun, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy for me. Oh, I thought I invented exceptions. No, sorry, I'm not that good. A-star is go. Yeah, I've heard that A-star is pretty amazing, and it's on my. I've never gotten far enough into any of the algorithms in my books to go through it, but I think like I have 3 books that all teach A-star. And it's like, okay, I should probably one day actually go through it and do it. Okay, so this was wrong, so let's X out of here again. Let's try this one more time. So I want to do cargo temp. I don't name it. It's just that. And now I can do cargo run, and it will, at this point, compile and do all the things. So that's pretty cool. I like that. How am I going to remember that this even exists? I don't know. One problem that I run into is like, how do I like discoverability the things I've installed and like what I can do? I don't know. I don't really have a good system for that yet. I'll have to think about that and keep that like maybe some kind of like reference or something. I don't know. Cargo can list things. I know, but if I've forgotten that I've installed it, I won't even remember to list it. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to like create a new project in Playgrounds. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. All right. It's 8:44. It is about time to end. Let's do. Togglebit is still streaming. Let's go ahead and raid Togglebit. Togglebit is taking a break to look at typing games, but Togglebit does a lot of Rust. Togglebit's also raided us a bunch in the past, so let's go ahead and raid Togglebit back. So I'm gonna set that up now. All right, so I'm gonna continue the course articles tomorrow morning at let's see, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and it's gonna be a full stream. It's gonna be around until this time because I no longer have to go into work for my day job, so we get the full stream again. And what that means is we are working on let's see, what is it going to be? Axum route handler path variables. That's what we're going to be working on. Sorry, well, actually, is the video? Oh, the video is good. I'm going to pop that Zilly really quickly. So yeah, that's what we're going to be working on. I think the easy hacky way that even big studios use is to render the game map from overhead as the mini map. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I know that there's a lot of tricks and hacks that you can do in game dev. But all right. I don't think I have anything else. I need to go feed a cat that I am house sitting or cat sitting for a friend, and they're probably super hungry, so I'm going to run off and do that. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day, and see you next time. Bye.